How did you get here? To the seat you're in right now. A lot of you probably drove, but where did you park? Did you take a mental snapshot of the parking lot before you left? Did you take an actual snapshot? Which doors did you use when you came inside? Do you plan on using the same ones again when you leave? How did you choose your seat? And, more importantly, how did you find it again after intermission? Did you remember it's near the stage? Did you repeat the seat number to yourself over and over again? Did you go based off vibes? When trying to remember how you got to your seat, a lot of you probably see this. But me, I see this. No, that's not a technical error. It's like you're really there inside my head. I would have to use something like this, or like this, to get where I'm going. And that's not just today or because of nerves. That's every day. Without these tools, I'd have no idea where my car is, where my classes are, or where my friends' houses are. A few years ago, I got dinner with a friend for my birthday. We have one of those fun dynamics where we can just talk and talk and talk about absolutely anything at all. And then she asked me a question that seemed so basic, but it changed my life. When you picture an apple, is it red or green? Full stop. What? Are we picturing apples now? Is that something we've always been able to do? Can someone please catch me back up here because I feel like I'm losing my mind. That's how I discovered I have aphantasia, which means that my brain cannot voluntarily generate mental images. In plain terms, I don't picture things when I imagine. Don't get me wrong, I still have a very vivid imagination. It just looks more like this than like this. The correct answer is red, by the way. The apple would be red. After the initial shock wore off, my friend and I immediately took to Google to figure out what the heck is going on inside my head. What causes aphantasia? Why is it that only 2% of the population experiences it? Or do people just not know they have it? No, I'm a psychology major. I have a huge interest in the brain, and that's really helped me put some pieces together and guide my self-discovery journey these past 3 years. So, buckle up and prepare for a crash course on some brain stuff. When you imagine something or someone, you're using the parietal and occipital lobes of your brain. We think the hippocampus is probably involved as well. These regions, specifically, are responsible for spatial orientation, visual processing, and spatial memory. Recall the apple. It might seem like it's just one image, but in reality, these brain regions are having a pretty intense conversation with each other in order to maintain it. What's actually happening is this image is being projected in your mind over and 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 over again, and you get the point. This is what we know so far. But we still have so much more to learn as we continue to research aphantasia. In the meantime, though, we can lean on personal experiences, like my own, to fill in some gaps. After my friend and I were through with Google, she began to grill me on what it was like to study and get through my day-to-day when I don't have those visual cues to help me. I can't mentally flip through my notes and find what I'm looking for on the page like some people can, but I do have the muscle memory to remember how far into my notes something is. Not the most useful for exams or whatever, but it's still a cool trick. Typically, for studying, I'll go through the content or learning objectives multiple times and test myself to see how much I can recall. Or I'll set up sessions with my friends and family to teach them the content. That repetition and routine are so important to me. I always set my keys down in the same spot by the door. I run through my calendar multiple times in the morning to get a feel for the flow of my day. And on the days when I do get myself to yoga class, I always park in the back left corner of the parking lot. I put my stuff in this one cubby that's perfectly at eye level and perfectly out of the way of everybody else, but what if someone got there before me? Oh gosh, I have to find somewhere new, but how will I remember? There are no numbers. Okay, so it's up 1 and 2 to the right of my normal spot, and it's by this one detail on this one painting. I'm just gonna stare at it really hard and hope that I can find it when I get back because I don't want to be here all day. That's just a normal day. Normal in the personal sense, at least. Just like I've had to find ways to adapt to my surroundings, so has my brain. This is technically called a compensatory behavior, but I like to call it a sensory superpower. Think of our brains like a recipe. We may believe we have all the same strengths and neuronal inputs going on, but they're different in all of us. It's kind of a same ingredients but different measurements type situation. Like when baking times for brownies depend on what size pan you're using, or whether you want them to be more chewy or more crunchy. This is due to the brain's ability to learn and rearrange itself. When we have some sort of weakness in one area or experience an injury, the brain redistributes its resources in order to make up for what has been lost, or even attempt to replicate that brain ability using other brain regions. Just like substituting self-rising flour with a concoction of all-purpose flour, baking powder, and salt, your brain makes substitutions for you. Bear with me just one second. Okay, so we went through the baking metaphor, and we use that to discuss compensatory behaviors. That checks out. So that means the next logical, most likely thing that I'm going to do next is address some of the challenges that I face, like losing my train of thought. You see what I did there? When that happens, I have to approach my thoughts like I'm solving for a variable in an equation. Here's what I just said. What kind of thing would I say something like that about? Okay, here we are. We're back on track. But it doesn't always make sense, especially when the person I'm talking to is asking me to visualize something. Not naming any names, but my friends are definitely repeat offenders of that one. I have to use an iPad or a whiteboard to draw it out and get back on the same page as them. And it can be hard if I'm by myself, too. If I lose something in my apartment, I can't see where I sat it down in my mind's eye. And I'll have to retrace my steps a good 5 or 6 times in an attempt to locate said lost item. Sometimes things are lost for a while. As annoying as aphantasia can be sometimes, it's put my life into perspective. No wonder I was always so anxious when I couldn't walk my new class schedules. I had to actually do it to jumpstart that routine. I couldn't picture where the rooms were otherwise. Physically walking my class schedules in advance is just one of the ways that I help myself out each semester. It can be difficult to ask for help, but it's really gotten so much easier for me now that I know what I need. I think that finding out I have aphantasia has impacted my identity and allowed me to live more authentically. While certainly not the best birthday gift, I was given the space to learn about myself and do so in a way that aligns with my interests. Our brains work in these super nuanced ways that we often don't even realize. Even though you're all at this talk right now, y'all probably experienced it differently. That's how we exchange new ideas and inspire innovation. I wouldn't be who I am today without my aphantasia. And I wouldn't have gotten this far without embracing it. Allow yourself the space for discovery and the courage to own it. At the very least, it'll make for good conversation. Thank you.